Observational drawing brought to you by the Los Altos art docents. For this project, you will need 4 pieces of paper, a Sharpie or marker, and colored pencils. What does it mean to observe? Many artists and scientists spend time outside looking carefully at nature and recording what they see in detailed sketches and field notes. Learning to draw helps us really see what something looks like. Cameras can also record, but it's different. Once you've tried to draw something while looking at it, you will learn new things about that object. Today we're going to learn some techniques for drawing. As with most things, you'll need to practice these techniques over and over again to improve. Let's start by going outside and collecting 2 items from nature, such as a leaf, a stick, a rock, or flower. If you can't go outside, you can find something inside to draw, such as a plastic toy, animal, a key, or almost any small object. You can pause the video now to find your objects. Here is a drawing by Pablo Picasso. Can you tell what kind of animal it is? He only used a few lines, but you can still tell it's an ostrich. The ostrich looks like it's moving because the legs are at an angle and there's a horizontal line by its front foot. The artist used different kinds of lines, such as thick curvy lines to show feathers and thin straight lines to show the ostrich's long neck. Now we're going to warm up our arms by copying this ostrich. You'll need to get your first piece of paper and a marker. I'd like you to stand up and hold your marker with your arm outstretched. Now try to draw the ostrich by moving your whole arm, not just your wrist. Remember to focus on the thickness and the directions of the lines while you draw. Pause the video here so you can look at the ostrich while you draw. In our works today, we're going to be using a method of drawing called contour drawing, because we're going to look very hard at the contour or outside edges of the objects and draw that contour with a beautiful line. First, we'll start with a continuous line drawing, which means that when I put my pen down on the paper, I'm not going to pick it up until I finish. Watch me first and then try. I'm going to grab the leaf that I found outside and draw around the outside edges of the leaf without lifting my pen. Your turn to try. You can pause the video now to work. Now that we understand how to make a continuous line drawing, let's work on our observation. Get your second object and examine it for 1 to 2 minutes. Turn it around. Follow its outside edges with your finger. Think about how you'll draw the contours of your object. What will your starting point be? From what angle will you draw your object? Let's start with a continuous line drawing where we won't lift our pen off the paper until we're finished. Start by following the edge of your object with your eyes and mimic that movement with your finger on the paper and fill the space. Go slowly and try to keep your eyes mostly on the object. Draw every little in and out. Draw big. And since we're using a Sharpie, don't worry about mistakes. Just focus on learning the contours. Details will be added later with color and texture, so don't worry about the shading or coloring it in at this point. Good drawing takes lots of practice. We're trying to make our brain, eyes, and hands work together. That's tough. Pause the video now to draw your continuous line contour drawing. Let's go ahead and draw this object again with our 4th piece of paper, but this time it doesn't have to be a continuous line drawing. You can lift your pen off the paper, but you need to draw exactly what you see, not what you think your object looks like. Draw big. Fill the space. You can pause the video here to complete your second drawing. Now that we have a beautiful contour drawing of our object, let's bring it to life with some simple techniques. As you can see in this sketch by Leonardo da Vinci, after a general contour drawing of the duck was drawn, he added a series of lines to create more detail. We're going to use colored pencils to add color to our drawing. Instead of just coloring them in, we're going to experiment with 3 different techniques. The first 2 are hatching and cross-hatching. Here we'll use lines to create texture or the illusion of a defined light source. In hatching, we use lines of the same direction that are mostly parallel and can follow the contour. More lines closer together can create the look of a shadow. The same goes for cross-hatching, where the more lines that cross over each other can convey a darker side of your object. Stippling creates shadow by using small dots close together. The closer they are together, the more shadow it creates. Use your Sharpie to create stipples. When adding these details, concentrate on a small portion of your drawing at one time, almost like you're looking through it through a microscope. Then move on to another area. When you're finished, take a moment to see what you've created. What kinds of lines did you use? What techniques did you use to add color and shading? Practice more when you have time.